Today's video is all about the new and improved Power2Max utility application. Now, it's been around 2 years since we've seen any updates on both Android and iOS to the Power2Max utility, or the configuration tool. Just last month, we saw a new update drop in the Play Store for Android devices, and 2 days ago, it finally landed for iOS. Thankfully, Power2Max do publish a full changelog, and here it is. Let's go through it top to bottom before jumping down to the Llama Lab and having a look at these features in action. So first up, auto connect to an active registered power meter, and the next one also relates to opening the app and just connecting, which says they've put a scan filter on so it won't pick up your Samsung TV or your Apple iPod or anything like that when trying to connect to the power meter. Next up, and here's where the rubber hits the road, activate 1 times a 30 active hours feature test with all power meter functions enabled. Okay, my translation of that is that if you have a power meter with features that you haven't enabled, such as on my Power2Max NG-Co, left-right balance isn't enabled and pedal smoothers isn't enabled, I've got the option to click the button and for 30 hours have those features enabled and to see if I like them or not. If I do, I can enable that within the web store. Next on the list here is improved battery status design, which is the battery level indicator within the app. Nothing special there, but we will have a look at that. They've also listed adopt the power calculation easily with the new control item in the settings page. Again, the translation on that is if you want to scale up your power meter by 15% or down by 15%, you can do it within a slider. We'll have a look at that in a moment too. The next item is access the Power2Max web shop within the upgrade screen. So I guess if you like what you see with the 30-hour trial of all features, you can click quickly and go and pay for those upgrades, and away you go, you've got those permanently. And the last two, not quite sure on these ones, added support for 64-bit ARM processor hardware. That may be the app/phone related, and firmware versions 1.1xxx. Not quite sure what that's about either. I did check for new firmware versions. There's none for the unit that I have, so it's always a good thing to check for firmware anyway. I'm also hoping within this code is some updates to the iOS stability when updating firmware. I didn't have the best of times updating my NG-Co with iOS. It worked a lot better on Android. Okay, here we go in the Llama Lab, connecting to the Power2Max NG-Co with the new utility. Takes a few seconds to connect. That's got the connection. Just pulling up all the information over Bluetooth. And there we go, we have battery state. We have a few other things on the screen we can click through. So let's get started by clicking on device information. Everything there is in check. So back to the main menu and we'll click on upgrade. Now I've already clicked on the trial period enable, and that was 14 minutes ago. You can see that on screen, and that's given me additionally balance, smoothness and torque, which weren't there as part of the standard offering with the NG-Co. Power and Bluetooth were always there, but I now have those 3 additional data points for the trial period. So the trial period is enabled. We can jump over to settings and we have a few more settings. So we have auto zero on, we have Ant Plus on, power adaptation, we'll click on that. Changing the calibration, we can scale up to plus 15%, or we can go down to negative 15%. Now, nobody's got time for negative 15% power reading, so let's put that back on 0 and leave that alone. I'll then scroll down, we've got balance and smoothness enabled, and we'll enable torque data by flipping that switch, and we'll see what that gives us out on the road recording with this unit. So there's a quick whip through of everything new there, and I'll click on here to check for new firmware. It'll go off to the server, and there's no new firmware, so we don't need to do that. And finally, just as an FYI, there's a pretty neat little troubleshooting function of this utility app, which will gather all the information from your power meter and submit it over to Power2Max support if you have any issues for them to review. No need to do that today, so we'll click on no for that, and we are done. So there it is, a quick look at the new and improved Power2Max utility update. It had been a long time between drinks of about 2 years. My takeouts from that are the 30-hour trial, that's a tick, and the improved scaling. That makes things a little easier if you do need to tweak things in your setup. As always, if you're a Power2Max user, download the app, check for firmwares, get those settings in line, and happy days. Thanks for watching.